One of my favorite things to do when I'm shooting is to shoot with a theme. I've done it throughout my whole life. Early doors, it was my feet. Took loads of snaps of my feet in various places that I went to because I couldn't really go anywhere without them. So it was a way of, instead of taking a selfie, it was taking a footy. That's what we're gonna call it, a footy. But I know people have things about feet and they don't wanna see your feet. So I was like, all right, well, what can I do to change it? Okay, well, at that stage, I wasn't really into the Polaroid thing yet. So I was like, oh, I'll just do the camera flip. I always carried two bodies anyway. So I'd be taking portraits on one camera and I could flip the camera and then see the reaction of the individual who's looking at their portrait. And it was awesome. But then it still didn't have what I wanted it to have, because as a photographer, we often go into these destinations and we take photos. When you're taking those images, you don't necessarily have a moment to share the image in a way that they get to keep it and they get to hold on to it and share it with somebody else. And so then enter Polaroid camera. And that was a game changer for me. So you had the original Polaroid, like the Instax, or the ones where you'd pull the trigger and then it'd be white and cloudy and then it'd slowly evolve. And I was like, that's not what I want. I want something that when I flip that camera over, they can see it instantaneously and go, ooh, and they gotta have this really beautiful reaction. You get to see it and you're like, oh, this is so good. So it was more than just taking the photo. The reactions were amazing. You'd also get situations where the kids would look at it and then they go, oh, and then they just run away. And they'd run away to go show it to their family, and then their whole family would show up. And then their family's family would show up. And then the neighborhood would show up and you're like, oh God, I don't know if I have enough Polaroids. So there's loads of beautiful interactions that you get in the course of traveling with one of these Polaroids. And then I went traveling with another photographer who likes to use the Instax wides. And I was like, why do you use these things? It's like you gotta wait for him to develop. And I watched him in action and watched him do what he did. And I was like, okay, I get it. So you basically, you go in, you go bam, 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 10, reload, bam, 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 bam. And by the time that second load starts coming out, they're like, oh, they start to see it, and you just won this massive crowd. And it's a really easy way to take the photo and move on, take the photo and move on. With a digital one, you've got to wait for 47 seconds. That's assuming you nail it in one photo. The real joy of shooting these sorts of projects is you go the first month, you're like, okay, I've got a couple of photos. The second month, you're like, oh, okay, I got a couple more. You go a year and you're like, whoa, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And you've got this massive body of work, something that you love, something that you're passionate about, something that you care about. And you've got a body of work from all over the place, whether it's in your city or whether it's across the planet, it doesn't matter. But it's there's this interesting continuity. It's a story you can always talk about when people say, what are you up to? It's just fun. And it reminds you of why we got into this thing in the first place, to be creative. So those are just a couple of themes that I like to use. There's a bunch more that I've kind of dotted throughout my work, like I take photos of my bags or coffee cups, little things that that are important to me when I travel, just to show and tell the story later down the line. But I'd love to hear what you guys do, if you do anything at all. I think it creates purpose in my work, and it gives me something to do kind of in the middle ground when I'm not doing anything else, so I can always keep my brain active and keep it creative. I'd love to know what you're up to. Let me know down below. Shoot me an email. Send me some photos. Feel free to use mine, and if you do, I might use yours too. It could be a shares these things. Cool. But until then, Taco Burrito, I'm out of here. Have a great day. Bye!